Welcome to the Female Influencer, Career Advancement Strategies for Women. I'm Lacey Shane. Today, I'm super excited to have my guest, Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis. Dr. Madeline has such a broad experience in leadership from the military, thank you for your service, to government, to corporate, and she has her own radio show, which is How I Met Her. And she has been coaching women to success coming up on 10 years now. And she is a force for women. And I so respect Dr. Madeline and really appreciate her time and visiting with me today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited about our conversation today.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I wanted to start by having you tell us a little bit about your Executive Women's Institute. What's that all about?
Well, the Executive Women's Institute was created so that it could be a place for women to come, women to share about their experiences, share about their anything that they've gone through as far as, in their careers. And I wanted to make it a comfortable place, somewhere that they would feel comfortable talking about these things, but also somewhere that they could come and learn and find out what they need to get into upper management and those top level positions, because sometimes we don't always know what we need to do to get there. We just think if we put in an application, it'll be okay, it'll go through the system, but sometimes it may take just a little bit more than that to kind of get your foot in the door. So that's why I created it. I had women coming to me wanting to know how I moved up in some of the areas that I moved up into. And because they wanted me to do mock interviews and, look at their promotion packets, I thought, wow, I didn't even realize anyone was, even looking at me. That's why they always say you never know who's watching. And so I just decided, well, if I could help, why not do it on a larger scale? So I created the Executive Women's Success Institute to do that.
Oh, that is wonderful. Your tagline is helping women get on the fast track to executive success. Mm-hmm. Can you share with us exactly what is fast tracking and what is essential for a woman to fast track her career?
Well, that is something that, I just feel that I was lucky in a way in my career because I had individuals to help me, to show me, to guide me, through some of the obstacles and navigate me through some of the ropes. And that came literally after one of my positions where I was laid off. And I had been at the organization for 8 years. And I thought, and I was laid off, if you can imagine this, right after Christmas and right before New Year's. And so I thought, who does that? I was devastated, but it was a lesson learned for me because it helped me to realize you can't do this by yourself. And I found that out through a friend of my mom's who, when I told her what had happened, she asked me, she said, "Did you have a mentor?" I said, no. She said, "Did you have an advisor?" I said, no. She said, well, that could have been one of your problems because they could have, given you a heads up on maybe what was coming down the pike to kind of let you know, hey, maybe you can try and move over into this department because that department wasn't going anywhere. And so from then on, I made sure that I had that type of help, a mentor, an advisor to help me. And so what I do as far as helping women to fast track is to make sure that they have these things and they know that you need to do this, you need to have these things in place to help you. But it's also a way to make sure that they will help you to kind of, like I said, maneuver around some of the obstacles that you can, as a woman, face in the workplace.
Yeah. Do you have any, what's the barrier that you most often see with your clients?
I think the barriers that I see a lot, of course, is the ones where they're trying to get up the ladder and they're not doing it and they're frustrated, they're stuck, they can't figure out why they're not moving. Now, I hate to say it, in some cases it's because we don't get, we get in our own way and we don't know how to not do that. And we sometimes just let these little voices get in our head and tell us we're not good enough. What if I can't do it? It's like the what ifs. That's kind of what I call them. What if I can't do the job? What if I'm not good enough? So these are the things that you have to try and change your mindset so that you could keep moving forward and not run into that. So I think that's a lot of the barriers that I see with women. It's always sometimes it's them in their own way.
Absolutely. I've seen that as well in my business. And it's one of the things I think that both you and I work on. You mentioned that dedication and willingness in the part of the client is really essential to progress. So what do you mean by that? The dedication and the willingness, how does that play into this sort of imposter syndrome you're just talking about, where we say, I don't know if I can do it,
Right. Well, I think with personal dedication, it's to success, it just means that no one else is responsible really for you moving into any position. They're not responsible for your career. You have to do what it takes to get from point A to point B. And what that means is you have to do the research. You have to make sure that you believe in yourself and your abilities. You have to have that confidence in yourself. You have to not let anyone tell you, like I just said, that you're not good enough, that you can't do it. You have to silence that little voice in your head, the little what ifs, because personal dedication will tell you, it tells you I have what it takes. So if you're that dedicated, if you're that ambitious and that you want to move forward, then that dedication, that little voice, you want it to always say to you, I can do this. I can make this happen. I can do what it takes to get to where I want to be. I just need to get the proper resources. I just need to have the proper backing. I just need to not give up on me. Yeah. And that's what I mean by personal dedication.
Absolutely. You mentioned that, and I think about one of the examples I like to give clients is that if they have children, I don't know any woman that has children that said, I need to read every book about child rearing.
Yes.
And I need to learn everything about parenting before I have a child. I don't know anybody that did that. So why we do this to ourselves in the job environment, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was just reading actually earlier this morning an article where it says because of like COVID-19, women have been working harder and harder, but now they're getting burnt out. It's like they're burning themselves out, and some of them are now considering stepping down into, I guess what they consider to be less hectic careers. So, and that kind of bothers me because, I want them to go up the ladder, not come back down that ladder. And so that article really kind of had me thinking for a minute there about that. And I know there are a lot of things that have gone on over the past maybe year and a half, almost 2 years, that, and for women especially, having to be home, like you said, the children and different things like that. But I just feel that there's got to be maybe another way. Unless you just don't want to be up here, I just don't see stepping down that ladder. I just really don't.
Yeah. I had the pleasure and honor of being part of your radio show, which I want to talk about a little bit later, last month. And we were talking about that. And I think that we think we have to do it all. And, we were talking about the concept of doing it all, and that it's not really about doing it all. It's about doing all the right things to be able to stay in that position. And as you know from that conversation, I believe our strengths as women are needed at those higher levels. I
Oh, yeah,
think that,
absolutely.
our leadership is needed. So I'm
Yeah.
with you, Dr. Madeline, like, don't step down. We need you. All women need you, right? If one woman rises, we all.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So, really good point.
Wow.
You say that we need to be more than just the average employee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you coach women how to do that? What's the average employee look like, and how do we be more than that?
Well, we all know, as I just mentioned, that women have to work harder to prove themselves worthy of being in the top level positions. And so when I say they have to be more than just the average employee, what I mean is that they have to be able to, and I always tell them this, toot your own horn. They have to be able to showcase their talents. They have to be able to showcase their abilities and their aptitudes. I mean, they have to be able to do whatever it takes, the steps that are necessary to enhance their skills, the skills that they already possess, while developing the ones that they need to get ahead. And so, in other words, what I'm saying, like I said, they have to put their best foot forward. They have to be on point whenever they step out to maybe have to represent their organization. And I remember when I was in the workplace, I used to go out all the time representing my organization, different things. I used to do threat briefings. I used to do a whole lot of stuff, sit on panels and different things like that. And one of the things that I always noticed is that women will always be challenged in some way, question your credibility. Will always, and I always had that to happen to me, sometimes subtly, sometimes blatantly. And that's why, I say, when I say about not being the average employee, it's what I mean is that they always, I say they, but it's really we always have to be on the top of our game. No matter where you go in your field, if you have to be an expert in your field, because someone is going to question you. You're going to be questioned, and you have to be able to answer that question. And maybe not every question, and there may be a time when you have to say, I'll have to get back to you on that. But for the most part, you need to be an expert in your field. So when someone asks you a question, you're comfortable with answering it because you know that you know that you know that you know. And that's why I say you can't just be the average and employee. That's what I mean by that.
That is great advice. That makes loads of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of women that we coach, they're the ones that are looking for advancement. And maybe, so I think of the saying that insanity is expecting different results, but you're still doing the same things.
Yes.
And you make the statement that clients need to be receptive to making life-altering changes, which I think probably taps into that. You got to do something different. So can you tell us a little bit about what you mean about life-altering changes, and what are some of the changes that some of your clients are making?
Well, again, once you get into top level positions, you are going to be more closely scrutinized. I mean, that's just inevitable. More closely scrutinized than your male counterparts that might even be doing the same position that you're doing, but they are going to be looking at you. And so you have to be prepared. You have to learn how to speak up. And that's what I teach. You have to learn how to speak up. Don't go in a meeting and shrink back. Don't let your ideas be taken by someone else, and it's amazing because you hear this all the time. I may come up with an idea at the, in a meeting, and everyone will just overlook it. But as soon as the males say the same thing, all of a sudden, oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Well, why wasn't it wonderful when I said it? Because perhaps when I said it, I didn't say it with enough authority. Who knows? But the bottom line is you cannot let your ideas be overlooked like that. You have to be assertive. You have to have that confidence. If you're going to move into a top level position, as I said, you have to do what's necessary to get ahead. And when I say that, I mean, if you're uncomfortable speaking in front of a crowd of people, then you need to do what you need to do to get comfortable doing that, because that's a part of moving up. The higher you go up the ladder, the more you're going to have to represent your organization, your office, your whatever you've done. Even if it's something that you created, you're going to have to be able to represent it, which means you're going to have to be in front of a lot of people. And again, on the personal side, when we talk about the children, women having children and different things like that, that means you have to have balance in your life. So you have to make sure that your priorities are firmly set in place, so that when you go through and you put together, you have to go through and put together a plan. And that's all of that is some of the things that we do. We talk about different things like that. What happens if you get into this top level position? How are you going to manage the personal side of your life? I mean, because that has to be considered.
Absolutely.
You can't just say, okay, I'm up there now, and the home life is nowhere to be found. You have to consider all of that. So you have to have that balance on a personal side too. So that's what I'm talking about when I say that.
Absolutely. Is there anything from your military experience that you brought into your coaching?
You know what? One of the things that when I was in the military, well, besides the discipline part, they had this saying that they would always say, lead, follow, or get out the way. And so what I like to do is to make sure that women are great leaders. And because, you're going to have people following you, so you have to be a great leader. But I want them to be the head so that they can always move forward. And I also want them to know that as a leader, you're gonna face obstacles. There's going to be some things that sometimes you may not always feel that you can handle. But in the military, like I said, they tell you, you don't second guess your decision. When you make a decision, you own up to it, good, bad, or indifferent. You always own up to that decision. So if that decision you made turns out to not be a good one, you don't throw somebody else under the bus because you don't want to own up to that decision. So I think for me, that's what I bring into my organization from the military, is that, like I said, lead, follow, or get out the way. And always own up to your own decisions. Don't second guess yourself. You make a decision, stick with it.
And a lot of our male counterparts don't question themselves like that.
Oh,
and it doesn't mean they're always right.
And we know that. We have definitely seen that for sure.
Yeah. I took the time to download your report, New Rules for Executive Women's Success. Can you share some of the rules with us? What are the most important ones?
Well, I think for women, when we talk about new rules for success, you're really just saying that it's not that you're not following rules that are in place or anything like that. Not that we're coming up with different, I want to go rogue and just do what I'm going to do. It's mainly that the rules that are in place, we know not all of them are really set on an equal playing field.
Yes.
And so when I talk about new rules for women, it's just ways that and things that you can do to make sure that you try to keep that field level for you. So that when you're in the workplace, when you're trying to move up and there's this one block, either a person or a thing, whatever that roadblock is, that you can know what you need to do to go around it, that you can know what you need to do to get over it, or whatever it takes to move it out of your way, but not let it stop you. So when I talk about new rules, I'm just talking about making sure that you know what you need to do to keep your feet firmly on the ground, but keep them firmly moving forward.
Sure. Do you ever coach any of your clients that sometimes it's just time to leave and go to another organization?
Oh, yeah. And the thing about that is people tend to get complacent. It's like, oh, well, I've been there for 10 years. I don't know if I want to go anywhere else. Okay, in those 10 years, how far have you gone? Are you in a career track that's no longer moving? Then maybe you need to take a look at that, because if that's the case and you're saying, are you coming to me and you're saying, well, why am I not moving forward? Well, moving forward could mean that you need to move out and move somewhere else. And so if you don't want to consider that, then you may continue to be stagnant. You may not move. Again, you're kind of what I said, you're in your own way, because if you feel like, oh, I just have so many friends here, or I can go to break when I want to, I can take 2-hour lunches, so I don't want to leave here, then I can't really help you with that one.
Yeah.
Because it has to be your decision, and you have to think about the fact that if that's all you're looking for, having a longer break or a longer lunch hour, but you still want to move up the ladder, there's something wrong with that picture, and your mindset's going to have to change, because that's the way to do it.
Right. I had a couple of weeks ago a salary negotiation expert on my podcast, and she shared that women, the stats are, she's an investment professional, women and their careers having earned close to $2 million less than their male counterparts. I think it was $1.6 million. And I think if anything motivates me beyond that I'm comfortable here mindset, it's knowing that not only am I more likely in retirement to be, in poverty or not have the resources I need, but if I have little girls, what am I showing them,
Exactly.
So I like to think about the consequences of making that decision for me and my family are also maybe not to be balanced with the current day considerations versus the future considerations, right? And I think sometimes that gets forgotten.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you have to weigh, what is it that you really want? Do you really want to move up, or do you just really want to be really comfortable, where you are, because you can do pretty much what you want and no one is really asking anything of you? Because if you want to move up the ladder, you're going to be asked, you're going to have to do things, and you're going to be asked to do things. And so if you don't want that, then maybe that move, like you said, it's not for you. But again, then I can't coach you through anything, because you don't want to do what it takes to get there.
Yeah. So you are a highly successful author. You have many books on Amazon and probably other places that I don't know about. And you have a new book coming out called Seeds for Success.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Seeds for Success is still in the works. And what I did was, and I'm a researcher, so I tend to go out and I like to ask questions to put things together. So I interviewed, again, women that are in different types of positions, the U.S. attorney. I interviewed women that are on magazines. It was just women in different areas. And I just wanted to talk to them and just to find out how they got to the point that they are, how they made it to that success. What did they have to kind of help them to get there, or inspire them, I guess I should say. What were some of the obstacles that they faced getting there? How can, they're getting there, or getting through those obstacles, the things that they had to go through, how can they help someone not go through the same thing? So the book is going to have those things in there. And I'm hoping that once I get it all done, I was just talking to someone. I was looking for an editor because I've gotten everything transcribed, all the interviews. And so now I need to send it to an editor to let them, kind of get it the way it needs to be flowing and different things. And so I was just talking to her, as a matter of fact, a few days ago, so that I could start getting that information to her, because I've taken a lot of time with this book, because it's something that I want to put together that I'm really hoping will be impactful. Like when I read your book, I mean, there were just so many nuggets in there that I was pulling out and just looking at. And as a matter of fact, I was thinking to myself, after I do my show on Thursdays, I like to do a little short, what I call a success nugget video. And your book, I was going to do an excerpt from your book on the success nugget. And I said, I will have to make sure that I let Lacey see it, because I really enjoyed how you put your book together, the case studies and different things like that. And to me, it was just so much impactful information. And that's what I'm shooting for in Seeds for Success.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Coming from you, that is a very, very high praise. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
More than welcome. I totally enjoyed the book. Totally.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, you have this amazing radio show, Success for Women. It's been going for quite a while. Tell us the genesis of that and what your mission is with that radio show.
Well, I started out in August of 2018, and it did start as a radio show. And we just added the TV portion of it.
Love that.
Yes, in August of 2020. So the TV show is only not quite a year yet, but I created this was another vehicle that I created to bring information to women. Again, the tagline is to help them accelerate the path to success, because I want to bring on women that are doing what other women may want to do, but they just can't, either don't have the confidence in themselves or just can't figure out where to start. And I just want to show them, hey, there are other women out there doing it. You can do it too. Just don't second guess yourself, don't doubt yourself, and don't quit. So that's what the show is all about, just to bring, and I've had, I do have men on the show too, and it's always men that can bring information, again, that's helpful for women, that will help them maybe with resources, where to find funding, where to find grants, different things like that. But that's what it's all about, just to bring information to women that will keep them moving forward in their careers and keep them moving forward if they're in business. Yes.
Got it. Okay, excellent. Well, you have a number of resources on your website. Before I ask you about any of those that you might want to share, what's your number one piece of advice for women? I want to just say, I know that I'm so happy and thankful that you could spend some time with me today, Dr. Madeline. Obviously you're a very busy woman and we're keeping you from a lot. I hear those pings, so I know there's a huge demand for your time. So tell us what's your parting, number one piece of advice for women who want to ascend in their careers.
Again, I will always say, never quit. I always use Winston Churchill's, his quote, which is never give up, never give up, never give up. And because I just believe that if it's something that you want, something that you feel you could do, then go for it. And, until you yourself say, okay, I've tried everything I could. I've done all that I can. And maybe I didn't get it, but I know that I have done the best that I could to get it. But if you keep pushing, more than likely, you're going to get there. So that would be my advice. Never give up.
Excellent advice. I agree. So where can listeners find out more about you and what you have to offer?
Well, they can go to my website, which is www.exwsi.com, or they can email me if they have a specific question or something specific that they're looking for as far as, where to find either my books or whatever, they can email me at info@exwsi.com. And also I'm on all the social media sites, so they can reach me, DM me on Facebook or reach me on LinkedIn. I'm on all the social media sites also.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for visiting with me today, Dr. Madeline.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Conversation with you is always, always, always great. So I was so excited about being able to share with you. Yeah.
Thanks. And thank you all for listening to The Female Influencer, wherever you're listening in the world. Remember, you are the power.